Good morning and welcome. If you're watching later in the afternoon, good afternoon. Let me know that you're here. Give me a hashtag replay if you are watching the replay. And be sure to ask questions. I love the interactions, or just put your comments in there. I like to know that you guys are out there, that you're watching this, that you are participating. So let me know that you're here. If you're joining me now, I see a couple of you hopping on there. And if I do start looking down, I'm just looking at my laptop to make sure that you guys are, I can see your comments. For some reason, the comments don't come up on my phone, which is where I'm recording this. So I want to make sure that I'm interacting with you guys as you talk to me. So if you do, don't worry, I've got my laptop, I can read your comments. So let me know you're here. I see a few guys on there. Say hello. It gets lonely on this side of the camera. How is everybody today? It's a beautiful Monday morning here in Northern Nevada. So I hope you guys are enjoying some wonderful weather also. So I set out on my Monday morning journey a few weeks ago telling you guys that I was going to really dive into mindset. And then Future and I had our 5-week series on inclusion in the childcare setting, which focused on social emotional literacy. If you haven't seen those, they are amazing. I highly suggest you watch. I'm so thankful to Future for doing that for us. It was an awesome presentation that she did for us. It was great to have Future. And she's still working with ECE leaders out there. So if you guys want to get a hold of Future, let me know. I can get you in contact with her. But my main goal is to really help you guys on Mondays. I moved from Mondays to Friday, from Friday to Monday, so that we could focus on mindset and start the week off right. Because I know for me, it is just vital that I get into that right frame of mind, especially right now. Living through COVID, running a childcare center through COVID has been very stressful. Running any business through COVID is very stressful. And it has been very difficult for all of us. And I'm noticing, again, a collective stress that is happening within our field. And there's just so much every day. Like if a teacher's spouse comes up is positive, or if somebody in the household, what do I do? There's just so many questions constantly. And we are constantly having to reinvent the wheel, constantly having to come up with new strategies, new policies, new procedures, which if you've been watching me for a few months now, you guys know I thrive on that stuff. I do, but I know most of you don't. So I just want to talk about how to really take control of the thoughts in your mind. And that is really what I'm going to be focusing on for the rest of August. How we can just take command. Early on throughout the COVID crisis, I talked to you guys a lot about being in command versus control. And one of the things as humans, we want control, right? We want to be able to control things. We want to be able to fix things. But when it comes to this crisis, we can't. We can't control it. We can't fix it. But what we can do is we can take command of the situation, right? We cannot control disasters. There's many things in life we cannot control. And for somebody like me, that can be really hard. But I've taught myself techniques to overcome that and just to make it easier, right? So I've learned over time that even though I cannot control every situation, I cannot fix everything, I can take command of what I do have control over, right? So it's really important that we really take charge of our thinking and where our brain is going. You don't want to let your brain just run rampant, right? You want to really be intentional about thinking about what thoughts are going through your mind. Even if it's just a couple times during the day where you stop yourself and say, wait a second, what am I thinking about? And you want to really just stop and control that narrative, right? You want to make sure that you're just not letting your thoughts run wild, and you're really controlling the narratives that are going through your mind. And the way you're going to do that is by questioning what's going inside your head, questioning what you're thinking, asking yourself, is this really a healthy frame of mind for me to be in? And my husband actually says that I do a form of brainwashing, because I do really just when it comes to like him and my kids, because I'm really always trying to help them control their mindset and just filling my head and my own head, right? I do it to me too, where I listen to podcasts, I listen to teaching, I read books and whatnot that I'm using to intentionally fill my brain with the way I want to think. But it takes intentionality. And so I'm always playing something, some kind of podcast or something that is going to make me think in the way I want to think. So I'm taking command of how my brain works. And I'm not just letting it just roam wild, basically. I'm taking command of how it's thinking, the things I'm putting into my brain. I take command of who I allow myself to be around, who I allow myself to listen to. I belong to groups that are very healthy. I try to make sure that they're mentally healthy, right? And I can tell you guys, there are some ECE groups out there that are not mentally healthy. If you're in one of those groups that they're always talking about how awful the children are, how awful the parents are, they just seem to hate their jobs. Honestly, get out of those groups. They're not healthy. They're not helping your mindset. That's why in my group, I have really tight perimeters, if you noticed. Everything has to go through me. Everything has to be approved. And that's because I want to make sure that our group stays a positive place where you guys can go for good, positive, just affirmation, and where it's not going to take your mindset down. And you guys, I'm sorry, I'm having some horrible allergies, so I am going to have to drink some of my water. But that's one of the things I really try and focus on for you guys is I really try to make sure that I'm bringing you just good information that isn't going to make you feel even more bogged down. But if you get caught up in some of those pages where there's so much negativity, your brain is going to get stuck in that mental cycle of negativity. And that's really what I want you to avoid. So I want you to really pay attention. What are you putting into your brain? What are you consuming every day, right? What are you watching on TV, listening to on the radio when you're driving into your centers? What are you reading on Facebook? And start purging your Facebook feeds, your Instagram, whatever you're on, to make them more positive. And it doesn't necessarily mean that you need to delete friends, but what I would say is definitely mute them, the ones that are not bringing that positive energy that you want in your mindset. If we're really going to make it through this crisis, as stressful as it is, and if we're going to really just become that next level leader, which is why most of you follow me. If you're watching this, it's because you want to be a better leader. The people who follow me tend to be attracted to me because they want to go to that next level in leadership. But I'm telling, one of the biggest things is you've got to be able to bring that in, and you have to just deafen the rest of the noise out there. You've got to start just really getting rid of all the other talk that's coming at you and all the negativity, and start really intentionally focusing on what you're allowing to come into your brain, right? So I want you guys to think about that. Like, what are you allowing to come into your brain? That is actually really, really important, and really being intentional. As different thoughts come into your brain, I really want you to focus on them too. When you start feeling upset, and this is something you guys are going to remember because I'm telling you to, and when you really get upset, I want you guys to think of me. And I want you to think about intentionally asking yourself, okay, what am I thinking right now? Why am I thinking this? How is my thinking serving me? Is my thinking serving me? Or would I be better off changing my mindset to a healthier way of seeing the world right now, right? And just start questioning the narrative that is going through your mind. That is what I really want to challenge you. As these thoughts start racing through your mind, I want you to question those thoughts. Question them and really ask yourself, why is this thought going through my mind? Is it valid? Is it not? 90% of what I see out there, and when I step in to help people solve problems, it's a problem with perception, right? Especially as an employer, you guys. I've been an employer leading teams now for almost 15 years. I've led hundreds of people. Whenever I go into an employee conflict situation, 99% of the time, It is a misperception on somebody's side. Somebody has perceived something incorrectly. And I'm usually just sifting through what the proper perception should be. That's usually what it is. When I'm helping you guys out, 90% of the time, same kind of thing. It's just that perception that's just been misaligned, and we're working on, I'm just fixing your perceptions, fixing your mindset a lot of times. With employees, if you guys have watched me for a while, or if you took the leadership lounge, you know that I talk about how, as ECE leaders, I see so many of you who want to go in and just fire your whole staff. And I really talk about how that's really us. It starts with the leaders, not them, but that is your perception and our mindset. So when you really start taking charge of how you think, and you really start taking charge of your mindset, you can change everything. You can really go to the next level. And that really starts with what you're allowing into your brain and the narratives that you're allowing to come into your brain. So watch who you're listening to. Watch who you're surrounding yourself with, and be more intentional about having just positivity in your life, and the people that you want to be like. Surround yourself with them. Listen to them. Just find those people, seek them out, and make sure that that is what you're allowing into your head. When it comes to self-talk, some of the things that I do to help, I do nightly brain dumps, where just the stressors of the day, I'll just write them out. It can take me a minute. It can take me an hour, literally. Some nights I need more. Some nights I don't need so much at all. And I just get things out on paper. You can do it in your phone notes. It doesn't have to be paper. It could be on a Word document, whatever. But I get them out of my head, basically. And I just am sifting through them, seeing where could my perception be wrong. Maybe there's something I'm stressing about or getting angry over that is unnecessary. There's a lot of different things like that. I tell the story often about, and the reason I use the story is because it's just such a blatant illustration on how perception can be wrong, right? And how my thinking is off. And this is exactly what I mean about really watch where your thinking is and question the narrative that's going in your head. So the story I tell a lot is about one of my employees, which is one of my all-time best employees. And last year when I was doing her employee review, I was really disappointed in her and some of the things that she did. And keep in mind, to make the story work right, you got to know that I write all my own employee reviews. I've written all of them. I've written my policies, procedures, my employee reviews, right? So when I sat down to do this particular employee's annual review, I started, and my first thought was, oh, this is going to be horrible. She's done a horrible job this year. This is not going to go well. Well, by the time I was done, her review turned out to be one of the closest to perfect employee reviews I've ever done in all the years I've done employee reviews. And I was absolutely shocked because I had been disappointed in her for the last couple months. I was absolutely shocked. And I realized that I had a misperception. It was my thinking that was wrong, not her performance. She was actually fulfilling every expectation I set up for her. My employee reviews are based on the expectations that I have put out there for my employees, the trainings that I've given them, the verbalizations, and everything's documented, right? But I have designed them to make sure they are fulfilling the expectations that I have designed, right? So if she did stellar on her employee review and I was disappointed in her, whose problem is that really? That is a problem in my thinking, right? I am not thinking and seeing her in the correct light. So that's why I say all the time, it is so important to control these thoughts. So important to question your thoughts. Don't just let your brain run rampant, right? You've got to question your thinking. You've got to constantly question your thoughts. Ask yourself, where is this coming from? Is there any basis to it? Is this really what I want to be thinking about? The other thing too is really learn how to intentionally talk to yourself. When you're talking to yourself, be intentional about it. Don't just let these thoughts go wild. Tell yourself what you want to think, right? Constantly just tell yourself in the direction you want to take your brain in. Just really try and control that. And that is a huge help in controlling narratives, when you are intentionally having conversations with yourself and you're literally telling yourself, today is going to be a great day. A couple weeks ago, I think it was 2 weeks ago, I will tell you guys, I woke up and everything from the moment I woke up was going wrong. From literally the moment I woke up, my husband is on dialysis, and his dialysis machine will go off, and he's on dialysis all night long. And his machine started alarming an hour before my alarm was going off. And it just, it's when you're in a dead sleep, this high pitched alarm is just like, getting you out of bed. So I get out of bed to check it out to help him. And the machine's malfunctioning. Turns out that like the entire dialysis machine is malfunctioning. So now we have to go into emergency protocol. It was the one morning also that I actually had to be at my center early. There was a meeting coming with some officials were coming in to meet with me. So I actually had to be somewhere early. The machine's malfunctioned. It's literally not working. So now I have to go into emergency protocol to get the dialysate out of him. And I'm like, oh my gosh, where are the supplies, right? I mean, we're not like, I'm all trained on the emergency protocol, but I'm not, so I had to gather up the supplies, get everything going. I know I have an early morning, and finally get him all settled, get him ready so I can leave for work and everything's good. And as I'm pulling out of my driveway, there's dogs in my garbage can. I'm trying to leave my house to get to this meeting in time, and there's dogs in my garbage can as like I'm leaving. They've got my garbage can knocked over. They're going through it. So now I'm fighting these dogs. And what does this have to do with mindset, right? Well, normally I think a person would be thinking to themselves, oh, it's going to be an awful day. This is how my day started. My day started with the machine malfunctioning and me having to go through all these hoops, and this is how my day is going to start. It's just going to be a horrible day, right? But instead, I kept telling myself, I am not going to let these couple incidents dictate my entire day. I am still going to go have a great day. I am still going to have a wonderful day. These couple of incidents, and even though the dialysis machine malfunctioning is a pretty big one, that's a pretty big one in my world, I still just told myself that is one isolated incident. This one isolated incident is not going to be a predictor of my day. And I literally drove to my center telling myself over and over, it is going to be an awesome day. Just because everything so far has not lined up for you does not mean it's going to be a bad day. It is going to be a great day. I am not going to allow it to be a bad day because of 2 incidents, right? And so that's what I mean about being intentional about your self-talk, about really talking to yourself and talking through things with yourself. Just don't allow those thoughts. I mean, normally I can tell you the me of 5 years, 10 years ago would have definitely been saying to myself, oh, it's going to be a horrible day. Look at how it already started. I've already lost an hour of sleep and everything's going wrong. It's going to be one of those days. How many times do we say that, you guys? It's going to be one of those days. Get that phrase out of your vocabulary. Do not say it anymore, especially in the morning. I get at the end of the day when you're going to bed and you're just, it's been one of those days. That's one thing. But saying it's going to be, you are going to manifest one of those days if that's how you think in the morning, right? So all of those things I talked about happened to me before I even left for my center that morning. And I was late for my meeting. My husband's that has to be a priority. So I had to have my director step in. And so, mentally, I can tell you the person I was 5 to 10 years ago would have definitely just coiled back and just been like, oh, it's going to be horrible. I might as well stay home. What kind of a day am I going to have? But I just wouldn't allow that. I don't allow that for myself anymore. I do not allow that kind of self-talk anymore. And I encourage you not to allow it either. You control the narrative in your brain. Also realize that those are isolated incidents. I am not going to let 1 or 2 hours of my day dictate my entire 10, anywhere from 10 to 14 hours of waking, whatever you guys are awake during a day, right? If you have a bad 2-hour period, why let that ruin 14 hours? Think about that, of waking time. Why are you going to allow 2 hours to ruin the rest of your day, right? But we really have to be intentional about controlling the narratives that are going into our brain. We have to be intentional about telling ourselves things like that. So when you do have a bad incident, ask yourself, is this 10-minute incident really worth ruining my entire day? Is this 2-hour period really worth ruining my entire day? Is this 4-hour period really worth ruining my entire day? And control that narrative that's going through your head. Control the self-talk. Talk to yourself. Pep yourself up. Get yourself going. Just constantly coach yourself so that you won't allow things like that to consume you and cause for a bad day, right? We can decide. One of the things I say a lot is we decide who we emerge as. Really be intentional on deciding who you will emerge as. It's just very important, that intentionality. And don't let your brain just run wild, because it will be difficult to rein in, right? And it takes some practice, but you will start getting used to it little by little as you think of me and when you're going through stuff and you're telling yourself my mantra of, it is going to be a great day. I am not going to let this incident ruin my day. Tell yourself that over and over and over again. I literally just said that to myself as a mantra all the way driving from my house to my center. And my house to my center is not very far. It's literally like a 5 to 7 minute drive. So not like I'm saying that for half an hour, but if you are doing a long drive and you have had a morning like I had that morning, find a podcast with something positive to get you focused on, right? And just listen to that. Listen to the positivity. Listen to something uplifting, right? Listen to music that makes you feel great and happy. Don't listen. And I love music. I'm a huge music fan. So I have this terrible inclination when I'm in a bad mood. I want to listen to music that fits my mood, right? I want to listen to like angry music or something like that. So something I really had to learn how to control, where if I'm in a bad mood, I'm going to listen to music that's opposite my mood to lift me up instead of bringing me further down. So when I say listen to music, just even that, intentionality on what you consume on the television. Right now, I cannot handle watching the news. Normally, you guys, I am a news junkie. I am usually the person who is very well informed. I'm a political junkie. I love the stuff, but right now, can't handle it. So I just don't allow it into my life, which if you've known me for many, many years, you probably would be shocked and not believe that I'm not listening to the news right now. But it's part of just that intentionality of what we consume into ourselves, right? And right now, I know I cannot consume that because it will drag down my mindset. And I know that keeping a healthy mindset and staying positive and focused on my vision, my goals, is where I need to be. The news is not helping me right now with that, so I can't watch it right now. That's just what it is. We have to learn to prioritize and really learn how to just focus on what the energy we need to focus on, right? If you've been watching me for a while, you know too, I start out my day with a devotion. I just read something out of the Bible just to keep myself focused on where my brain needs to be. Mondays are huge for me. And part of the reason I started doing this on Monday mornings too is because I start with Mindset Monday. That's how I look at it. And I follow my business coach very early in the morning. She has a coaching call that I watch every Monday morning to get my week started right. So I start with devotion, giving my first part of my week to God, and then my coaching. So that is what I would recommend, you guys. Find something, even if you start falling a week behind on these, so that you can start, watch this one next Monday. So you start your week off right. You start your morning off right. You want to find that positive affirmation every day, but focus on it. Control that brain narrative all day long. Keep questioning it. When you start feeling just exhausted and down, tell yourself, I can do this. I can make it through this. This is only an isolated incident, right? Even if we have 10 in a row, there's still 10 isolated incidents, and you don't need to make your entire day go downhill. So that's pretty much what I have for you guys today. This month, like I said, I've noticed that COVID seems to be really hitting us hard again in the mindset area. I think we're just getting tired. I mean, especially for those of us who've never closed. We've been open the whole time. We never closed. We're getting tired. So it's really important for us to focus on our mindset right now and to really control that narrative. So I would just really suggest that you guys just really start focusing on that right now. But I will be talking about more things this week to help us get through this time, just to help us stay positive, stay in command, and just, what can we do right now with something that we have so little control over? And same goes for you guys who are reopening. I know that's just got to be so stressful to have to come back to this. And there's so much uncertainty, so many questions. Where do we go now? What do we do? So there's this month I'm going to be focusing just on our mental health and making sure that we can stay mentally healthy so that we can do the best for the children in our care. Because bottom line, that's what every single one of us is here for, is doing what's best for the children in our care. That is what we're here for. And we cannot do that if we're not putting our own oxygen masks on first. So that's what I have for you guys this week. I hope you guys have a fantastic week, and make sure if you guys have any questions or anything, post it to the group. I do go in there personally every day, at least once a day, and approve everything so that I do see all your posts personally. And again, I do that just to make sure the quality of our group stays and it keeps its integrity. So have a wonderful week, everybody. I will talk to you guys next Monday. Bye.